Hey guys, in this tutorial we are going to see how to convert Java objects uh, into a exchangeable data format called JSON, and then how to use that in a servlets to make the communication between user interface and a servlet a bit easy. And all of these concepts are important when we move on to Spring. So this is how a JSON structure looks like. If you can see, I can store information about a person like this. I can also store array, um, and you can store nested object structures also. So without wasting time, let's work on to this. One more thing, I have created a new repository, employee rest, to store all the information over in this repository. So we had employee, employee app, and now employee rest. And I'll be using this repository to create a relatively professional application now. Um, so, uh, so there are libraries available to convert Java objects into JSON and back and forth. One of the libraries is I think it's called a JSON library. I'm just trying to search for the Maven artifactory. Yeah, here it is. So I'm going to copy this over into our POM file. Okay, and we'll just say dollar Jackson.version, and all right. Mm, so my workspace is getting built. And if I look at my Maven dependencies, I should have it somewhere over here. Yeah, and so this dependency has brought in its own dependencies and so on and so forth. Um, Now in our code, I'll just clean up this a little bit. Okay. So let's look at our get request. Uh, we were creating here HTML output, but instead now we want to create a JSON output. So we are going to look at our print method. Okay, and let's enhance this a little bit. So I can say something like object mapper equal to new object mapper. This is a class that I get from the library that we just imported, and I think using this I should be able to, yeah, convert the object. So string value equal to, all right, and I can have some exceptions. So let's try catch this, and let's throw new servlet exception, error converting object to JSON. All right. Similarly, we can have a list. So I can say list of employee Pojo. All right. And maybe we can just return this value. or I can just say return. All right, and if I want to convert a JSON string into an object, then what do we do? So let's say employee Pojo, then string JSON, and I think what you need to do is yeah, return mapper.read value. We need some request object over here. We'll have a look at it later, and we can just say error converting JSON to object. All right. I think we'll need HTTP servlet request over here. Throws an exception. All right. We can make these methods static also if we want. All right. Now let's have a look at our doGet method. So since we are interacting with JSON, we need to set our content type to JSON. So we'll have to search for response content type JSON. This is so that the browser can interpret things properly. I think it's application/JSON. Okay. Now all of this is fine. We can just say here object response equal to null, and we can say oh, we have a return method over here. Okay. So if there is an ID, we have a single Pojo, otherwise we have a list. All right, so we can say string JSON equal to print list. All right, and here we can have string JSON equal to print p. Yeah, we don't need this one. Okay, and we need to write this to our response. So let me have a look how to do that. So maybe we can just do out.write JSON. All right. Okay, so let us see if this works. I'll just do maven jetty :run. Hope this works. So we need localhost :9000/employee/API get method. Let's just print over here and see what we get. Okay, so you see we got back our JSON. Let's just view source, and there is nothing here, no HTML other than our JSON. There is a nice site called JSON lint. So you can just go over here copy this and say validate JSON, and it'll just format everything. And you see we have two employee objects in an array. All right. Um, let's try with a single employee. So question mark ID equal to 3, or that's, or will we have something with 4? So 4, and here I just got an object and not an array of object. So now I can do this same thing for our do post method also, that instead of getting all of these values as post parameters, let's try to get the JSON, and then let's try to construct an object. So we need to read the request input stream. Okay, so I'll say string JSON equal to, well, actually I don't need the stream. I just need to pass this request over here. So I can just say employee pojo equal to print request. All right. All right, and that should do everything. Okay. Well, this is a do put method. We'll need to change this a bit, but we'll have a look at it later. Let's look at the do post method. So employee pojo equal to this, and we are inserting it directly. Let's call these methods as read JSON and write JSON, just for clarity. All right, so so this is our JSON, and if we post, we should be able to insert a new employee, correct? And again, our response, we don't need to do anything with this response, because now both the browser and the server will be interacting with just JSON. So if you just return 200 code, that should be fine for the browser. So all right, let's rerun our server. Okay, and we have our postman. All right, so employee app post. Okay, and in the body I had all of these things. For my basic post method, I'm going to remove all of these, and I'll use the raw method, and I'll just say ID equal to 5, age equal to 45, and test user 5. So if when I post this, my code should convert this, and first of all, it should read this from the input stream, convert this into a Java object, and then store it. Also, okay, let's try this, right? Also, I think, yeah, content type is application JSON. So my browser or my client is sending application content type is application slash JSON, JSON to the server. So let's try. So could not get any response. Let's see if there's an exception. Nothing over here. All right, so we need slash API. Let's send. and sorry, it has port 9000, so employee slash API. Let's try once more. And I got status as 200, okay, correct. And now if I try to just fetch all the employees, what do I get? I get 3 employees. So this is how post works. Similarly, we can have a do put method where we are updating an employee. This method is still sort of empty. We will fix it later. But all you need is uh, an an ID. So you read the employee pojo from the body, and you just update with the ID. So I can have int ID str int ID equal to integer dot value of ID string. All right. So I can fetch that employee and then update it. What else? So delete can just work as it is. We should not do out.println here. We should not be printing anything out. Just a 200 HTTP status code response should just work fine. And now just to make our code a little bit pretty, we can have a class called object util or JSON util, and I'll just move all my static methods over here. Oops. Dot Java. So public class JSON util. Let's try to reopen it. Well, let me do that again. New class JSON util. Paste everything over here. Make these methods as public. And I can just say here JSON util. So basically I'm just reorganizing my code to make it more readable and have reusable methods, etc. Right. Okay, so that's what we get over here. And that's basically the basics of creating RESTful APIs. Uh, One of the other things about RESTful APIs is that typically the URLs are uh, sort of centered about the objects that you're trying to CRUD. So for example, so I have API and I have get, post, put, and delete methods over here, right? So you know what these does. Get is for retrieving. So my URL remains the same, but my method changes. And if I just provide here ID equal to 1, get retrieves only one object. Otherwise, it retrieves all the objects. Post is for creating an object. Put is for updating an object. Typically, you'll have to provide an ID also what you're trying to update in a put request. And then delete is again for deleting, and you need to provide an identifier. Um, I've used the question mark pattern for providing IDs. That's not how actual REST works. In actual REST, you use the slash mechanism. And so for get, put, or delete uh, methods, for doing these operations on a single object, you use slash and you provide an idea is like this. Um, so I will basically just stop here. Just wanted to give you an idea of how to create RESTful APIs using JSON. Thank you.